Welcome to the Future Jam. We're back in the saddle. I'm here with Harrison. It's been like 2 months now since we recorded the Bitcoin episode.
Yes, it has been a long 2 months. I think in the Bitcoin episode, we were talking, the Bitcoin, I think, was like valued at like 18,000. Well, not so much anymore. So that's a timestamp for you.
Yeah, we kind of wanted to make it sound like we recorded all these episodes close to each other, but that didn't end up right.
Yeah, we've been having so much fun. We wanted to kind of get a jump on things, so we're doing some pre-recorded. So we're recording this,
we are not pre-recording, Harrison. That's rude.
Oh, sorry.
This is all recorded immediately following the next episode.
So when you're listening to this, 1 week before you listen to this, it was recorded. It doesn't matter when or where you listen to this, whether you listen to it in 2020, 2018, 1 week before you listen to it, that's when we recorded it.
This episode's hot off the press, I would like to say.
Get your oven mitts.
It's as hot as it can be off the press. But today's episode is Doomsday Clock. Threat level midnight.
Yeah, what is it? Like, technically, it's 2.5 minutes till midnight?
No, it's officially 2 minutes to midnight right now. Oh. They moved it. They moved the clock forward.
Gotcha. So it was 2.5 minutes till midnight before.
Last year. They do it every year. Okay. Last year it was 2.5 minutes because they elected Trump.
And then all hell broke loose.
This year, it's 2 minutes. We're closer.
Gotcha.
So we're in 2018, and it's 2 minutes to midnight, the closest it's ever been to midnight since
1954,
I believe. Wow, yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing that was pretty interesting about that was I think this is the first time the clock moved by only 30 minutes. Is that right?
You know what, Harrison? That's a fact that you could have made up, or that could be a real fact. I have no idea on that one.
Look it up. Yeah, fact checks. You know what? We're not experts here, okay? We're having fun. You guys are having fun. You're interested. You're curious people. Well, we are too. So check it out for yourselves. We're out here just blowing hot air, having fun doing it. So thank you for listening.
Yeah. And if you get the flu, you're blowing mega hot air.
Yeah, don't blow that air this way.
I had that over the last couple weeks, so that's one thing that kind of put the Future Jam down a little bit. But just a quick history of the Doomsday Clock to bore you. It was created by the Board of Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists in 1947. And it's the same scientists that were involved in the Manhattan Project. And those scientists developed the atomic bomb. And so they know how dangerous and destructive the atomic bomb is. And originally when this was created, it only included atomic like warfare or accidents or bomb drops.
Right. Well, I mean, that was really the first thing that threatened, as far as human involvement goes, threatened the entire world. So, I mean, it seems pretty fitting that would put it on the map as far as counting down towards an end.
And basically, the minute hand is counting down to midnight. And once it strikes midnight, basically that means doomsday, or however you want to interpret doomsday.
Yeah, like I kind of like it. And the guy who came up with this, he sees it as more of a piece of art. It helps us kind of understand kind of where they feel the threat level is, but it also is just kind of a symbol of, hey, people, be vigilant, be aware that we're all in this together. So if big major world powers are fighting and squabbling over stupid stuff, it's going to involve everyone. So let's be serious about this. Let's not let it get to midnight. All right. Peace is a better option.
What's funny is it always involves Russia at some point or another. So in 1947, when it was created, and these are a couple interesting facts taken from International Business Times, but in 1947, when it was created, it was 7 minutes from midnight when it first started. And that's, I guess, right around the Cold War.
Right. Yeah.
So
because that was shortly after the nukes were even invented. I mean, it wasn't long ago.
And according to the site, it's been the amount of times the minute hand has moved back and forth. So it's moved like up and down, up and down, up and down over the years based on how likely it is that we're going to kill ourselves. How likely the human race is to blowing itself to smithereens, basically. So I think it's moved, it's adjusted 20 times since 1947.
I think around 1995 or so, it was actually like the furthest away from midnight.
Yeah, it says the safest point was in 1991 when the clock was moved to 11:43 p.m. That's 17 minutes from midnight. And that's, I guess, when the United States and the Soviet Union, Russia, signed a treaty. So Russia's always involved in some way.
Yeah.
And then I guess the riskiest point, and now that we're in 2018, this is matching the riskiest point because it's only been 2 minutes to midnight twice.
Very true.
Since 1947, according to these scientists, this
Quote,
is the
quote, scientist. No, what'd you ever do? Come on, just invent the nuclear bomb? Like, that's a feat. No, I'm just kidding.
According to them, this is the closest we've been since 1953. And I guess that's when we were testing atomic bombs. And then 9 months later, Russia tested atomic bombs. And we're just blowing bombs up left and right and just laughing into cameras.
There was this clip. So I put together this little video and I was going through so many nuclear bomb clips. There was this one clip. These guys probably are completely dead from cancer now, but they were pretty damn close to the nuclear bomb because it showed that all their hats and their dresses and everything just got like completely blown, not away, but their hats went flying. Their dresses went like right up against their bodies and stuff like that. It's like, how close do you have to be to a nuclear test for that to happen? I mean, come on.
There's stories of them bringing out kids to watch these nuclear blast tests.
Hey, little Johnny, check out this big old bomb test. How fun.
Just to show the kids the might and power of the United States.
Oh, yes.
So back in the day when we were all about power, we're kind of still that, but it's kind of fallen off a little bit, I think.
You kind of have to be the biggest and baddest in the prison yard right at this point, because if you don't, there is some other people that would be happy to kind of be that guy, and I don't know. I have a lot of faith in the United States, so we'll kind of be the police of the world for now, but hopefully we don't have to always be.
So I guess basically how they decide, like we just went to 2 minutes to midnight, and how they decide this is they take current events, recent events, situations in the world at the time, and they just kind of, I guess, calculate this somehow in their minds, and they decide, yeah, this is where we're at danger-wise. So right now, North Korea is testing nuclear weapons. Russia is hacking our elections, supposedly, quote unquote. Nobody knows.
I don't think there's much evidence of that, but there is a lot of stuff going on, and it seems to be North Korea being the biggest factor. Basically, what these scientists quoted most of the changes is basically their doubt on Trump and his ability to deal with North Korea. And I don't know. It's one of these things where the whole clock has kind of expanded out to more than just the nuclear war thing. But to me, the fact that North Korea has kind of reached out to the global community for this Winter Olympics, I think what I saw is they're going to send a figure skater, and they're going to try to like team up with South Korea and kind of like walk in together. I forget the exact like information about their involvement with the Olympics, but the fact that they're finally kind of getting to the point to be like, hey, you know what? Let's come out of our shell a little bit. Let's not be that porcupine that we have been for the past few years. That shows a little bit of hope for me. Even if they end up having a nuclear bomb, at least this person we can talk to and reason with a little bit more than the person that, I mean, he's still a leader, but even just a few years ago, you couldn't reason with that.
Well, maybe they're starting to realize times are changing. The internet's getting more prolificated.
Close enough.
Okay, yeah, maybe they realize the times changing. Internet's getting more prolificated into societies, and their people are probably getting access to more and more things, and it's going to be harder and harder as time goes on for them to shield their public from the rest of the world.
You can only control the truth for so long. I mean, the amount of control that a lot of these Far East countries have is crazy, especially living in America where it's like no rules, you figure out what you want to do. I mean, I don't understand how they're able to do it without going completely insane.
Well, usually in your mind, you think, okay, usually governments control the population through religion or, different things like that. And in North Korea, the government is their religion.
Right.
So they control their population through like worshiping their government. The government is the god. So whatever the god says they have to do, they do it, and they revere that god.
Well, yeah, their leaders, their dear leaders, they have deified them. And there is some like really good reporting like coming out of North Korea right now. Those that come back from North Korea that aren't beaten, battered, and whatnot. But yeah, you read the literature on the leaders of the past, like the oh my gosh, I'm mind blanking on the leaders. Kim Jong-il, his son, and whatever they are. They're deified. You hear the stories, you're like, that's not a real person. They did not bowl perfect games. They did not do this. They did not do that. So yeah, you're totally right. They're deifying their leaders, which in essence is deifying their government. That truth isn't going to last.
No, so I actually agree with you, and I feel like North Korea, they might become a threat, more and more of a threat as they get closer to nuclear weapons, or if they already have a nuclear weapon, we don't know. But I feel like the further along we go to their population, like hearing about the rest of the world, the closer the government's going to have to worry about being overthrown by the people, the populace, and stuff.
They're going to have to make some changes. Here's another thing. Like, this is kind of like a weird thing to put hope on, but I think a lot of their posturing in the global scene is just the fact that they don't have real nuclear weapons right now. And after the Korean War, they're probably like, hey, we're going to posture as much as possible to, like, just kind of keep people away from trying to take us over again, because it almost was a complete takeover before. And you know what? Let's put them in line. Like, there are positive changes coming from that regime, and let's, not push it too much, but yeah, I don't know. I don't fear it as much as some other options that this clock has kind of started to keep track of.
Yeah, it's true. And what's funny is about North Korea, real quick, over the years, they've been taking credit for all these like hacks into Sony Pictures, when they hacked into Sony Pictures and leaked all their emails, supposedly.
Right.
When they, I think they recently hacked into like a Canadian, it was like a travel grid.
Really? I didn't even hear about this.
Yeah, they recently hacked in. I think it was something to do with their bus system or something like that. They supposedly hacked into that as well, and they didn't do anything. But I'm like, where is North Korea getting these hackers? Because The kids don't grow up with computers, so.
Well, yeah, I think their internet access was accidentally leaked to like another country for a short amount of time, and there was like 20 websites. Okay, could you imagine our internet with only 20 websites? I mean, that is basic.
I only go to 20 websites, but.
Yeah, but you have access. You could go to millions.
That's true, but
you don't.
That's true, but most websites suck.
Exactly. But that's fine. Like you,
at least I have access. At least I have access. But most websites out there, Little John's blog, yeah, it's great.
That's right.
Obviously, hacking's not gonna destroy the world like a nuclear bomb would, but it could, destroy our infrastructures for a bit, or
It can definitely be one of those preemptive attacks to lead to something else.
And our infrastructures are very vulnerable, so they could take down our power grid if they really, really wanted to. They could even mess with our GPS. I was reading about hackers. They're able to toy with GPS tracking. If you're using your GPS, they could technically hack it, and you wouldn't even know where you're going. So that's all small, minor inconveniences. We don't have to worry about that from North Korea right now.
Not from North Korea, but you know what? You bring up a interesting fact. So if you can hack a GPS system, as AI, artificial driving cars becomes more and more available, what if someone was to hack into your car? It's like, hey, this place that you're driving to, actually, you want to drive here into the middle of this forest, and in the meantime, you're going to go headfirst right into these trees.
Threat level midnight. Threat level midnight. We're just all yelling out, threat level midnight. It's the end. It's the end. No, I don't think any of that's going to be the end of us. Nuclear weapons are, but artificial intelligence definitely could be the end of us.
Definitely.
I don't really. Do you have? Can you wrap your mind around that idea? Like, how could artificial intelligence possibly be the end of us?
Well, there's a few options AI could take. So you talk about hacking not being the end of us. Well, if a smart enough AI bot, we'll just say, was able to hack nuclear, arsenals, I mean, that might be enough. I mean, you watch Terminator, the series, they talk about
factual.
I mean, that's basically like the Bible of AI apocalypse, If you watch that movie, I mean, there's a lot of ideas that an AI could take. They hack the nuclear arsenal, okay? They just boom, shock and awe kind of thing, and then take over from there with their drones. There's lots of options.
Yeah, it's true. Like, as the military becomes more and more technologically savvy, the military, everything is run by computers now. Like drones, they have drone tanks. Basically, you could power the tanks without having a person in them. Like, the military has like all these new devices and vehicles that are not manned on the field.
Right, and it's kind of getting scary. So this is going to kind of timestamp things. So like last week, there was this like leak of a fake video of Daisy Ridley. And basically what they did was they were able to, I think with like kind of like AI, kind of augmented reality kind of technology, they were able to take Daisy Ridley, the girl from Star Wars, take her face and put it on another actress, quote unquote, and make her look like she was in very, very unsavory kind of places. Anyway,
a better use of that was I saw the same technology used to put Nicolas Cage in every movie.
Yes, see, that's the
best
way
use.
to use
Nicolas Cage should be in every movie.
But what I'm getting, he should be. Oh my gosh, he's so funny in Japanese commercials too. But what I'm basically trying to get at is there's lots of ways that a ghost in the machine could take our technology, use it against us, use it to change what we perceive as reality, make what isn't true look really, really true. I mean, just look at Hollywood movies, how realistic Hollywood movies are now. I mean, if there was a ghost in the machine, they could really do some sort of crazy false flag kind of news thing.
Threat level midnight.
Yeah, just put that over the edge, send some country that's a little unstable into doing a preemptive strike. I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's true. I guess artificial intelligence could bait other countries into doing things or cause countries to clash on different things. Yeah, I guess artificial intelligence could like pit us against each other, but
yes,
it could also take control of our military systems and
that would be part
fire
of it for sure.
missiles off if it wanted to, or it could, it could do really anything.
Well, exactly. And so as we get more and more integrated into the digital realm, there has to remain a physical aspect to the digital realm to just deter any of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I feel like our security is behind. Like we are advancing so fast that the security measures that we have in place, it's not good enough. Like emails get leaked out all the time. It just seems like our government's easily hackable. Like Russia supposedly could affect our whole election.
Yeah. Doubt it, but I mean, supposedly it's possible. There's so much technology. Yeah, it's just moving so much fast, like so much faster than we can keep up with the defense of it. And
with technology, we have nanotechnology.
Oh, geez.
And 3D printing, and
I'm not gonna be able to sleep now because
that's the next step, and that's scary because the further along we get in that, people can pretty much print out anything.
Yes.
Like molecule by molecule.
Well, so have you seen the movie Hero 6 or
Big Hero 6?
Big Hero 6. So his machine was basically nanobots, okay? His thing was basically not just one machine. It was like thousands of little dots. I forget, it's been a while since I've seen it, but it basically worked as a swarm. So with nanotechnology, think of that swarm. You've probably seen the movie. Think of that swarm even smaller and running through your bloodstream, okay? When AI really starts taking off, the singularity really starts taking off, they're going to create their own language that we will never be able to decipher. They're going to start taking off so quickly that we will never be able to catch up in certain sectors. They're going to start creating things that we won't even know because they're going to be like 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of us.
Yeah.
We will have no idea what to look for.
Like I've read, it's hard. It would be hard to communicate with them. It would be hard to share with them our like structures of right and wrong.
Right.
Like
morality. Yeah. How do you share that with a being? They're like, I've analyzed your morality.
No, because they're using complete logic without they're using complete logic without emotion.
Right.
And we work on emotion and we work on like different levels of respect to other humans, and
we also work on a spiritual level too that I don't think AI will ever be able to get to. And like I said, that nanotechnology being able to be as small as a red blood cell going through your bloodstream. I mean, imagine being accidentally or, purposely injected with a batch of nanobots, basically hidden like a flu vaccine that is introduced in your body and then finds that part of your cerebral cortex, and all of a sudden your mind controlled.
Threat level midnight.
Doomsday. What's that song that we might be playing for this episode? Like
Doomsday. Yeah, and if the wrong person gets a hold of this nanotechnology, they can print out like bombs. They can print out any weapon they want. They just need to download the schematics off the dark web, and bam, they could print out whatever they want. Like, you don't even have to be a genius. You just buy the parts and hit print, and you can already print out a gun, a working gun with the 3D printers we have currently. Like, think 15, 20 years down the road, you can print out insane things.
Definitely. And I think this is kind of why Elon Musk has started to talk more and more about the democratization of AI technology. Because I think in one of our past episodes, we talked about how he kind of said, we need to start thinking about the defense of this emerging technology. And one of the defenses is just make it so prevalent that no one person, no one group has too much power over this technology so that it is dispersed.
Yeah. So obviously artificial intelligence going to be possibly a huge problem down the road. Nanotechnology, huge problem. And another one I think is bioengineering, like
bioengineering, like
yeah, I'll explain.
Environmental.
No. Well, that too, but
I'm taking control of the storm. It will tornado.
No, I'm okay. Another one would be, I guess, biosecurity or bioterrorism. So let me put it this way: we're developing cures to diseases, and in doing so, we are creating, I guess, stronger versions of these diseases in the process.
Yeah.
And if any of those stronger versions of diseases or mutated versions of these diseases gets out, or if another government or terrorist organization uses these mutated diseases, they can inflict disaster upon, like...
Yeah, if you want to engineer a disease and send it out to another country, I mean, it is possible. It's a bad idea.
Yeah. Well,
the blowback will get back to you.
They say natural pandemics have killed more people than wars. However, the natural pandemics are unlikely to like kill us off because they're survivors, and it doesn't affect everybody, and those survivors carry the cure basically in them. And so immunity, yeah. So that passes on. So that's like natural. Like it's unlikely that a natural pandemic is going to kill us because in nature, like usually in order to survive, the viruses need to mutate to keep going. They don't want to kill their hosts, really. So, for instance, I'll put it this way. For instance, the syphilis.
The great pandemic of syphilis.
No, for instance, syphilis started off as a parasite that would kill. It killed their host, and it slowly developed into like more of a chronic disease, as we see now.
Oh man.
So
thank goodness syphilis doesn't kill people anymore.
So unfortunately now we can make diseases nastier. One of the most famous examples is how like the introduction of an extra gene in, I guess, mouse pox. The mouse version of smallpox made it far more lethal and able to infect vaccinated individuals. So even if you're vaccinated, you can still get this. And recent work on the bird flu has demonstrated that contagiousness of a disease can be deliberately boosted. So that's like artificially boosting the contagiousness of the disease. So I guess basically in laboratories, people can develop these like diseases that can wipe out a whole population. And if the wrong person gets a hold of this, bam, we're all gone.
All right. It's definitely possible. And the way I would see something like that is, first off, who is that evil? Is there a leader in this world that is that evil? I doubt it at this point, that has access to that technology.
Well,
hold on.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. The reason why I say evil is because when you send something out like that, you don't have control of it. Once that beast is out, it cannot be contained. So you would basically have to have the cure before you released it, and only be giving it to your people, and man, come on. Like, seriously, like, is there anyone in this world as bad as some of these people are? Is there anybody in this world you think that is that evil that would do that?
Well, we dropped the bomb on Japan and killed hundreds of thousands of people, but in World War II,
in the middle of a Great War, yeah.
In World War II, Japan uses bioterrorism and killed 400,000 people.
Wait, when?
In World War II.
What was the disease?
I mean, it was just, their chemical weapons and such.
Oh,
so.
Well, okay. Like, by bioterrorism, I thought you were talking about just, like, releasing diseases. They were doing, like, mustard gas and different types
they called
of,
it
like,
smart poison, like nerve gas, but seeks out victims or, that type of thing. So,
like, were Japanese people immune to that type of gas?
Okay, basically during World War II, the Japanese had a unit called Unit 731. And basically they did tests on prisoners. They injected them with what they called vaccines, but they really were like diseases. They were basically injecting prisoners with different diseases to test out like how effective it could be. Mm-hmm. And they bred fleas in laboratories and infected them with viruses like anthrax virus and cholera. And it's estimated that over 400,000 Chinese people died from these fleas that the Japanese like put out into like the populace.
That's pretty crazy. I didn't even realize, I don't know a ton about the World Wars, but I didn't even realize that Japan was fighting China at that time. I didn't really even understand where China on the Axis versus Allies spectrum they even were, but geez, China was freaking getting attacked by
fleas.
Plague fleas?
Yeah, plague fleas.
That sounds like a video game enemy.
Yeah, so...
Wow.
Yeah, that happened in World War II, and obviously we dropped the bomb on them in World War II as well. So in World War II, there was a lot of evil in the past. Like, a lot of man's evil came forward. But
we learned a lot of lessons.
We did, but will that rear its head again?
I think, like I said, we learned a lot of lessons in World War I and World War II. World War I, if I'm correct, is the first war that planes were really involved in a major way. And then World War II, I mean, the fact that the atomic bombs basically were like, Japan, are you sure you really want to get into this war? Done. You're out of there. Kind of thing. I think we're learning the extent of how powerful peace is in a time where our weapons are this powerful. So I hope that this amount of power and these sorts of weapons stay in the right hands. The fact that I don't think there's someone that's evil enough to like completely destroy the world on this planet gives me hope.
But, you don't think North Korea has a batch of plague fleas that they have going?
They couldn't. There's no way unless they're going on a suicide mission.
Yeah, that's true. I guess the last threat we could cover is, and this is highly debatable by a lot of people, but I guess global warming, I guess we call it now.
Climate change?
Climate change.
Yeah. I would just say like environmental factors. Because here's the thing. Like, as much as global warming could change water levels and different things like that, the icebergs and whatnot. That's almost like saying you're scared of that guy on the what is that called? A steamroller. Oh my gosh, that steamroller is coming really fast. No, it's not. It's going like 2 miles per hour. How am I ever going to dodge the steamroller? Okay, get away from the coast. If the water levels are going to rise, Get away from the coast. Done. Okay. The thing about environmental that you have to worry about is something that we have no say in, okay? Meteors. And there's a clear history on this earth that meteors have completely changed the whole atmosphere, the whole climate, everything.
Yeah. But that's not man-made. So threat level midnight basically is just talking about man-made disasters.
Is it?
Yeah, it's talking about as we develop as a race, as we make new things and develop new things, what are we doing to our planet that is possibly bringing us closer to doomsday? So it's all about man-made things.
I think it's beyond that, though. I agree with you. It is about man-made, but I think it also is these scientists. It's their way to say, hey, this is the major threat of this world right now. So if NASA or some other space, agency found that there was a meteor heading straight for Earth, and in 5 years it was going to hit us directly and completely destroy the Earth, I guarantee you those scientists would be saying, this clock is getting a little closer to midnight.
I think basically the whole idea behind the clock is just it's like a warning bell.
Right.
It's basically not a warning as in oh no, a meteor's coming, or oh no, there's a nuclear bomb dropping out of an airplane. They're not going to update the clock. We're 20 seconds away from midnight because a nuclear bomb's falling from the sky. No, this is designed as a wake-up call to say, hey, look at what you're doing to the Earth. Look at what you're creating, these weapons of mass destructions. You're destroying our planet and its ecosystem. You're creating diseases, accidentally creating diseases that could destroy the whole planet. You're messing with crops, and when you mess with these crops, maybe the crops won't be able to come back the next year. But it's basically just saying, hey, we need to look at what we're doing as a race and our actions, and we're 2 minutes from midnight because we've made poor choices.
I agree. But if a meteor starts heading this way, that's going to be our number one priority. That's my only point.
No, okay, but that's a completely different system. That's more we'll send out a tweet saying... We're sending out a tweet saying there's a meteor coming. Oh, wait, this is a real tweet, not a fake tweet saying that a missile's coming to Japan.
Hey, Honolulu. Hey, Hawaii. This is not a test. Oh, wait a minute. It is a test. Oh, wait a minute. This was just
So again, that proves how bad our government is at the internet.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah. How did that happen? Gosh, I feel bad for those people on freaking Hawaii Islands. I'm like, oh my gosh. Could you imagine just getting a text warning, warning. It is midnight.
So Harrison, out of all the ones we discussed tonight, what is your threat level midnight?
Of the big three that we talked about tonight, I'm going to have to say environmental and not global warming, okay? The whole climate change thing, yes, our climate is going to change, but the biggest factor of that change and the biggest amount of extinction on this planet, I want to say, comes from meteors, okay? So that is my threat level midnight, is my fear of meteors.
So mankind, quit making those meteors and shooting them at the Earth. Quit doing it, mankind. I would say the reason why this whole thing started was nuclear weapons.
I agree.
And I still think nuclear weapons are the most evil and the most danger that we have ever created. So I still think that's king in my mind. That's still king, but I would also say environment's a close second, but more of a what we're doing to the Earth, and we're basically I think, I'm not sure if it's how much man is playing into it, but I think that our Earth is getting more hostile. It's already a hostile planet already, but I think it is starting to become more hostile to its inhabitants. But Again, I don't think that's enough to say threat level midnight.
No.
Because we're going to figure out ways to survive that.
Definitely.
So basically nuclear war or artificial intelligence, basically any of our crazy creations that could backfire on us. That's what's going to kill civilization.
Any of those three, definitely a possibility.
But I don't think we're 2 minutes from midnight. I think that's over exaggeration.
I agree. I'm glad you said that because, we should just for like a minute, what time really is it in your opinion?
I don't know.
It's definitely not 2 minutes.
It's 10:15 p.m. I'm looking up at the clock.
It's getting pretty late here. I would probably say 11:35. Now, hold on a sec.
That's the best it's ever been.
You know what? I'm pretty optimistic.
He's feeling good. Trump's in power.
Really good.
He's good.
He's way more stable than you would think. He's a stable genius. I would have to like look at the other changes and the other like times, but you know what? I'm an optimistic person, so I'll keep it at 12:30. Or sorry, 11. It's 12:35.
Wow, the Earth's destroyed, but we're just partying it out.
No, 11. I'll say 11:35.
11:35. Okay. I honestly don't have a time. I don't know.
Just humor us. Come on.
It just doesn't make sense. It's hard for me to wrap my head around this time concept of like we're 2 minutes away from midnight.
Oh my gosh, Mike, you're useless.
I like the scale, like a 5-point scale, like red alert.
So time. There's too many numbers within time. Well, hey, you know what? We just talk about numbers. We actually have a phone number now.
We do.
You should call in, all you listeners out there. You should call in and tell us what your threat level is. What of these topics, or maybe you think there's a threat that we didn't talk about, tell us what you think is getting us closer to that midnight threat. And we have an awesome new number. It's 513. Wait, what is it? Robo-Cola?
No, you're wrong. That's too many numbers.
Oh, shoot, there's one extra. Wait, what was it again?
513 Bot-Cola.
Bot-Cola, that's right. So we went on the Googles, and we got some, like, random numbers, and we were running it through some, like, random number word things.
It'll tell us, like, if we plug a number, and it'll say, these are the words that are in that number.
And so, like, the 30th number that we tried, it worked out perfect for, oh my gosh, I already forgot. What is it? Robo-Cola?
No! Threat level midnight!
Oh, no!
513 Bot-Cola.
Bot-Cola. Why do I keep saying Robo? Okay. 513 Bot-Cola.
There you go. Always remember that. And if you have, like, stuff you want to talk about from previous episodes, please leave a message about those as well. We're going to play any of the good ones. If you leave a terrible message, we might play just to make fun of it. No, I mean, we would never make fun of you.
Never. But when you leave a message, you are agreeing to let us make fun of you. And not that we would.
No. Or you're also agreeing to be played on this show.
That's right. Don't be scared. You don't have to leave your name.
And
Just
there's lots of ways to be connected with the show. You could go to the Future Jam on Facebook. We're on Twitter too, at the Future Jam, and we have our very own discussion page. It's private. You can ask to join. You can say whatever you want in there, but keep it friendly.
That's right. We're about peace here. We're not trying to get to midnight. We want to keep it at 11:35.
Yeah, it's a Future Jam discourse page, and there's actually quite a few posts in there lately. Some questions Harrison answered a couple the other day, and I think the community is growing, and randomly some other podcasts picked this up and did a showcase on us.
Yeah, from this little show. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of NPR. So there was like this little thing.
Tell the story of how your acquaintance even found this.
Yeah, this was pretty awesome. So my wife, she was like, "Hey, Yeah, so my friend, well, her boyfriend said that they did a little blurb on NPR about your podcast. I was like, no way. That's not true.
He was in another country listening to a podcast on a train.
So he was streaming the NPR thing on his phone, and I was like, are you sure? So I contacted him. He gave me some information. He gave me an idea of the day that he was listening to, and we follow up on the NPR website and stuff like that. So sure enough,
yeah. Tonight we hunted it down. We spent about 30 minutes trying to find out what show we were on, and we found it here now.
It was pretty sweet. So it was, this segment called Here Now, where they kind of highlight different podcasts locally here in Cincinnati and
actually around the whole nation. Honestly,
was it?
It's not just Cincinnati podcasts.
Oh yeah, you know what? You're right, because when we read that blurb, it was talking about that they're headquartered in New York City. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. It was honestly, I was super excited because I would have put money that it was a false alarm and it wasn't really us.
No, sorry. It's not called Here Now. It's called Start Here. And it's a podcast I guess they do weekly, and they showcase interesting podcasts to listen to, and we were on there.
That's it. So Start Here, and not here as in HERE, but HEAR. Isn't that fun wordplay?
So Future Jam officially on NPR's Start Here.
That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
We're big timing. We're big timing it. So thanks for listening. Leave a message on 513.
But cola.
Thanks, Harrison. Bye.